All right. Welcome to the next episode of the Backdoor Cover presented by BTV, BetterThanVegas.com. I'm BlackJack Fletcher. He is Kyle Perviance at DFS Bachelor. Kyle, what's going on, buddy? You got a little new haircut going there?
Yeah, I have a lot less hair, and I'm fucking
Good?
nervous that it's not going to grow back. I really am. I'm scared to absolute death, but the girl who cut my hair assured me that it looked like it would grow back. I told her if it didn't, it's handies up and down. So there we go. Oh wow! And look at we already got
Right
our
off
biggest
the
fan.
fucking
There
bat.
he is. I so appreciate you watching, brother. Like, thank you so much. That's so like, come
This
on,
is
man.
appointment television for this dude.
That's what I love. I love it. Cheers to you, Dominic. Thank you,
Dominic, you brought the heat right off the bat. I got to give you cheers to you, buddy.
Wow. Can you imagine if all that were true? This would be a risky show.
Really, I mean, if it were true, I'd be fucked.
Yeah, you'd be so bad. Like, why did I hitch my coattails to this guy? But we appreciate you being in here. Thank you, Caden, for being in here as well. Thank you for everyone who's watching. Thank you to BTV, the coolest company. I mean, come on, man. We just get to have a lot of fun, right? Just a ton of fun. Giving away free money all the time. Make sure you follow
Left
at
and
BTV
right.
Bet. I mean, that poll prop thing is a genius idea. Follow everyone at BTV Bets. All you have to do is vote, tweet it out. You win free money for nothing.
Dude, we've given out $700 in the last couple of days in free money. Totally free. All you have to do is follow the account at BTV Bets and vote in the poll. That's it. You do that, we randomly choose one person each night. If it hits, you win. It's crazy. We had a heart-touching moment the other night. On Friday night, a gentleman is going to use the money to go and visit his daughter that he hasn't seen in a little while. We're making dreams come true.
Right here, with all the sick fucks that work here, you know, even with the sickest fuck of all time, courtesy of my friend Dominic, still making dreams come true. I love it. I absolutely love it. Happy to be here. I do. I love it. He came out hot.
Dominic, what a guy.
He's quickly becoming one of my favorite people. And it's weird that that's happening. That just shows you how twisted I really am.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know.
It really does.
It really tells you something. All right, let's get into it. We're here. Let's talk NBA Finals because this has quickly become a shit show.
Yeah,
the Milwaukee Bucks have somehow won 3 games in a row. I was perplexed by Game 5. I thought Phoenix got out to a quick start. All good. Next thing I know, halftime, the Bucks are ahead. Milwaukee closed this thing out with another, I'll call it meltdown at the end of the game for Phoenix. I mean, Devin Booker has that ball going down the floor, gets triple teamed in the lane, tosses it away, and then Chris Paul inexplicably fouls Giannis on an alley-oop when it's fine. He makes the basket. It's a 3-point game. You're still very much in this, but the foul makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
Giannis misses the free throw so badly that Milwaukee gets the rebound. I don't know where to go with this. Like, I still, Kyle, in my bones, think Phoenix is the better team. But let me ask you this. Let's start here. The fuck is going on with Chris Paul?
I don't understand it. And first of all, can I just say that is so cool. So apparently it's Jeremy in our chat box who won that to go visit his daughter. That dude supports all of our shows, retweets everything out.
This dude.
That's our boy.
Good
Love
dude.
you. I could not be happier that it went to you. That is the coolest thing I have seen all day. Trust me, I played golf today and I played like absolute shit. So there you go. Dominic, enjoy that one out there as well. But that is so cool, and we're so happy that happened, and we appreciate you so much. So the NBA Finals. Well, look, I look like an absolute idiot because I was sitting here a week ago, right, saying
Suns in 6.
The Suns in 6. And they jump out to that huge first quarter lead, and then they get away. How many times have we said it now? I feel like this is 3-4 weeks in a row where we said if they run the high pick and roll with Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton on every possession, good things happen. But for some reason, they cannot get away from trying to feed the ball to Devin Booker, have him run this ISO shit, which it's not a good matchup for him defensively, no matter who. Jrue Holiday, terrific defender. Chris Middleton, terrific defender. You bring in Pat Connaughton, very good, athletic, sort of aggressive defender. Run the high. If you stick to your bread and butter in your Phoenix, you've already celebrated an NBA championship. But this is what you get for being a low IQ team, and we sort of made fun of the Bucks for it. What a hell of a comeback. I have to eat crow. I was absolutely wrong about all of it. And now you've got probably the best home team in basketball outside of the Sixers and the Bucks going home, and they should probably close this out on Tuesday.
I'm still gonna take Phoenix. I don't
I
know.
mean, it's a good value. So now if we're talking betting, right? Smart betting strategy, because I'm with you. I think the Suns are a little bit deeper, and I think they're a better all-around team. So maybe they do lose game 6 because Milwaukee's really good at home. But right now you're getting such a value on Phoenix. Before game 5, they were the favorites. Now they're going to be a heavy underdog. You got to win game 6 and 7. The plus, if they can find a way to get through game 6, that plus money that you're betting today is going to look really, really
well, yeah,
smart.
because they're going to be the favorite in game 7 if they win game 6.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So that's why you're looking for opportunity. It's called you're getting a good line adjustment is what you're getting.
I can't criticize Milwaukee. Giannis has played exceptionally well in these 4 games. There's no criticism, right? There's just not. People criticize his free throw shooting. He's been good enough to get by, and he hasn't been as bad as he's been in years past. Yep. That team has been hitting on all cylinders, but I will continue to say this, and this is why, Dominic, I will continue to take the Suns, is that I feel like most of these games, Phoenix has had self-inflicted wounds.
Yep.
Like they have shot themselves in the foot, whether it's Chris Paul turning the ball over or Devin Booker. Listen, you talk about Devin Booker with the ISO play, and I agree. I don't think it's the right way to go.
It.
But Booker played well in game 5. Like Booker shot the ball well.
Yep.
But still, when you are in that possession at the end of the game, you cannot do what Devin Booker did.
Nope.
He handed the ball to Milwaukee, and then you compound the mistake by the foul by Chris Paul, of all people on that floor. Of all the guys, the 10 guys on that floor, the one guy who should not make a mental mistake is Chris Paul. We give him credit for so much, rightfully so, right? Like he's elevated bad teams. He's a consummate pro. The guy is a fierce competitor. He should know better than to commit a meaningless foul when the 2 points doesn't matter that much. The free throw mattered.
Yep. It's sort of mind-numbing. I was just kind of blown away the entire time. I'll admit, after that first quarter, I sort of was kind of floating around, sort of, making some food. Wasn't really.
And then halftime, all of a sudden, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, it was background noise to me, honest to God. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, holy shit, Milwaukee's in this. And then they just took over. But I will say, and again, we like to give out winning bets. We like to give out, and I'm not guaranteeing that the Suns are going to win, but I'm guaranteeing you that right now, this is the best number you are going to get on the Suns for the rest of the series. 100%. If they win game 6, they're going to be the favorite. So you need to jump on it now. If you're going to take the Suns, don't put your mortgage on it. Don't be stupid. Don't be ridiculous. But if you're looking for a little plus money spot where like, hey, listen, the Suns are the more talented team, the more all-around team, the better shooting team, really. This is the time to put that plus money on if you're going to do it.
Listen,
I know that seems weird to some people who don't.
I get what everyone is saying in here about how Milwaukee has such a great home crowd, and they do. Let's not.
They're one of the best home teams in basketball.
Phoenix has a great home crowd too. All right, and the home crowd is one thing. What Phoenix has to do is weather the storm early. Okay, right. Milwaukee is going to come out of the gates looking for blood. Okay, that's how these things go. We've seen it, Kyle, 1,000 times in our lives in games like this, right? You're at home. That arena is at a boiling point. They want to erupt. And you have to survive that first quarter. If you can survive the first quarter, you can survive that game and keep it close and do what you need to do. Phoenix is still, to me, the better team. I'm not discrediting Milwaukee in any way. They have played great basketball. But if I'm looking at an entirety of the body of work, I still like Phoenix. I like them as a dog. And also, let's consider this too. We've never seen the Suns in this spot. They've never had their backs against the wall yet.
Yeah, that's true. Not in this.
We don't know how this team will respond. Now, that can go either way, right? They might fold. I don't think they will because Chris Paul and Monty Williams and Devin Booker don't strike me as those kind of guys.
Yeah.
I expect them to come out much more focused than they have before, because even losing game 4, they knew they were going home for game 5, right?
Yeah.
It still was probably, okay, home court's held. We're going home now for game 5. Now you lost one at home.
Yeah.
Now the trophy's in the building, right?
Yeah.
Now this is it.
Yeah, and we're talking about the shirts. So now the shirts are being made, right? So let's can we? So just real quick, just to throw out some numbers, because I know people like numbers, and let's try to be. So Milwaukee was tied for the 3rd best home team in basketball. The Suns were actually 1 game better than them at home, but on the road, Suns number 1 team in the Western Conference, 12 losses on the road. They're the number 1 team in basketball on the road. It's just if you're going to take a plus money spot, this is where you do it.
This is the one to do it. Yeah.
This is when you do it. I'm not saying put everything on it, but if scared money doesn't make money. Like, what's your risk tolerance? What do you like to do? When I look at things and I say, okay, I have a team who I think is better. I thought they were better a week ago. Thought they were better 2 weeks ago. And I'm getting plus money now. Do I want to wait and pull the trigger after game 6 if they do pull it off? They're the best road team in basketball this year, the best record on the road in basketball. I think it's a spot where you use your head a little bit.
I'm going to give our guy Dominic a little bit of love here and put his comment up, because I think it's a fair one. But the difference is, Dominic, this Phoenix team, top to bottom, is considerably better than that Milwaukee team was.
Yes.
Now, Trae Young might be the best player on both teams, but I don't know that that's true. I mean, Devin Booker's a pretty good player himself. But the Phoenix roster, top to bottom, is much better than that Atlanta roster was.
Have you ever gone through? Just do one exercise for me. Go to the last game log on ESPN, right? And look at the box score, and then look at the players who did not play via coach's decision. That's all you have to do. Look at the Bucks roster after Pat Connaughton, and you're like, who the fuck is this guy? Who the fuck is this guy? Who the fuck is this guy? If something bad happens to the Suns, they can throw in a Langston Galloway, who, if he gets hot, dudes, I've literally with my own 2 eyes watched him throw up 30 points and win me a DFS contest before. They have players, they have veterans, they have guys, Frank Kaminsky's, etc. When you look at the Bucks, outside of that top 8, there is absolutely nobody. Maybe Bryn Forbes, if you want to consider him somebody, but no. I mean, it's bad. Man, I gotta say, damn, Sparty's coming in. See, I never know how Sparty's, feeling.
Never know. Wild card.
He's a wild card. I love that about it. So I do want to bring up something. We were talking about the trophy's going to be in the building.
Trophy's in the building.
They're also starting to make those T-shirts, right? And so this came up. I think this is kind of funny. Maybe you guys can help us in the chat box. I was talking with my buddies, and we were talking about the most famous person of all time. It's pretty clear cut. It's Jesus. Jesus is the most famous person of all time.
Agreed.
I don't think there's anyone even close, right?
Whether you believe in his religious powers or not,
doesn't matter what you believe.
As a person, he's the most famous person of all time.
If you live in the furthest outreaches of the galaxy, you know who Jesus is, right? So we're trying to figure out who's second. So I brought up Hulk Hogan.
Excellent.
And it's sort of, and we're going to dive into that just a little bit more. But so, like, let's just say, for to play devil's advocate, the Suns come back and win the next 2 games. They've already produced like 1 million Milwaukee Bucks 2021 championship shirts. Mm-hmm. If they don't win, we know what happens here, right? America, we're nice people. We love the rest of the world. So these poor countries, we do those little like supply drops, right? Where we drop like rice and food and T-shirts, water and Bibles. And we also drop T-shirts. So he said to me, he goes, well, there's kids in the poor jungles of Africa who don't know who Hulk Hogan is. I'm like, bullshit, they don't. They think he's still the heavyweight champion. They're still getting those shirts dropped to this day. So then I brought up, okay, there's kids in Africa, Southeast Asia, those poor countries that we help out. When they're going through the hard times, America likes to help out, which I think is a fantastic thing. But there's kids who think that Jim Kelly won 4 straight fucking Super Bowls. The Buffalo Bills are the best team of all time, and they have no idea that they got the shirts from the loser. They would never know. They don't have TVs for it. So who's the second most? I'll put my first hand, if we're playing poker, I'll lead off since I brought it up, so I get the first card. I'll say Hulk Hogan, second most famous after Jesus. What do you got?
I'm with you with Hulk. I think Hulk Hogan's a great answer. Number one, Hulk Hogan is just one of those people who just looks different than everyone else walking the face of the earth, right? He's a massive human being, the blonde hair, the bald head, the Fu Manchu.
Yeah.
Hogan is a great, great answer to that. My second answer to that would probably be a fictional person, and that's Ronald McDonald.
Oh my God, what a good one. The Arches.
Ronald McDonald is probably pretty well known.
Fuck. And so do you think the people in those countries, because they don't have McDonald's, right? It's not
I don't know. McDonald's is fucking everywhere.
You can't leave your little hut where all you have is rice and flies and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to head down the road and get a Big Mac. That doesn't fucking work that way. And I'm not saying that's a good thing. It's a terrible thing. And I wish they all had McDonald's, by the way.
The Colonel?
Have you ever seen the Arches? I'm trying to think like T-shirts or dropped leaflets. Someone mentioned Moses.
I wouldn't know Moses' face.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I'm trying to think.
Obama?
Barack Obama. Obama's pretty fucking famous. I would say Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan are up there.
Michael Jordan, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
He's up there.
Maybe?
Kobe's really famous. He was more popular in Asia, like in China, than Michael Jordan was. So Kobe could be an interesting one.
Could be.
We mentioned Hitler. But I think you're right. I think if people have nice parents, like Hitler's not as well known in the actual civilized world than he would be. I think the people in the other ones, like, yeah, we know who Hitler is. That guy just, they might still think he's alive. I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, I think Hitler's a tough one with younger people today. Like you ask a kid today who Hulk Hogan is, I bet most can identify Hulk Hogan. I don't think most kids can identify Adolf Hitler.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right.
Fuck you, Dominic.
No, he doesn't. BlackJack
also,
Hansen,
let's just motherfuck Adolf Hitler.
I'm the one asking BlackJack to hook me up with the pretty girls. He pulls all the women.
Can we just motherfuck Adolf Hitler one more time? Not only did he do all the terrible things that he did, but he singularly ruined a whole genre of facial hair for all of eternity.
Exactly. I would have looked great with that mustache, but I can't do that anymore.
Terribly ruined.
Oh, Madonna. Now that's an interesting one. I think that is interesting because she's such an icon for women, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that Madonna's up there.
Madonna. What about Oprah?
Maybe.
Oprah, second most famous person ever behind Jesus. It's such a big gap. Santa Claus? Is that what it is?
If you're talking fictional people, Santa Claus might be the most recognizable person of all time.
Well, because I believe Jesus to be fictional as well. I mean, maybe he existed, but he wasn't from a virgin birth.
I think Jesus existed.
No, if he did. Now, hear me out on this.
I don't know whether he had mystical power.
This might be controversial, but if Jesus was indeed real and he was the Son of God, I would imagine he had a large, golden, throbbing cock, right? Because you wouldn't send your isn't that the deal you make? So
he never got to use it, allegedly.
Well, no, he did. Mary Magdalene, he hammered that, just hammered it down. But so just hear me out on this, and I know this sounds ridiculous, but to me, if you're gonna go to your son, you're like, look, buddy, I need you to do this for Dad. You're going to go down there. You're going to live for like 40 years. They're going to beat the living shit out of you. They're going to make you carry this heavy ass thing. They're going to, just besmirch your name and hang you and all this crazy crap. I'm going to be like, well, you know what, Dad? Can I at least have a giant throb? Like, I want to go down there knowing I got the biggest cock in the room, right? Is there something wrong with that? Or is that way too far outside of the box? Am I just an asshole?
I mean, it's a question for the audience to answer.
That's what I think.
I mean, you would imagine Jesus was pretty well hung. But
that's what I would think.
I don't know.
The vein's just in the right spot, and it can move for every girl,
I mean, that thing's like one of those magic eye posters that just looks like it follows you everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you've got magical powers. You're the son of the omnipotent creator of the entire universe who controls all things. He's asking you to go down there and do a job so he stays relevant and he can write a new testament to the Bible. Yeah, at least better give me a nice giant golden sing. It may as well sing. Like I feel like that's when the Beatles started, right? It's like the first time he pulled down his pants and Mary Magdalene was there, and it was they played Yellow Submarine. I don't
And
know.
Jesus' dick was like, I want to hold your hand.
Yes, yes. They sang "You're the Inspiration" by Chicago. That's what happened.
Fucking Peter Cetera is involved in
Yes,
this.
exactly. Exactly. I know we got off on a tangent, but I think that's pretty fun. I think that's
Mel Gibson is going to love this show a lot. If Mel ever wants to
yeah.
pop on, he's more than welcome.
Yeah. We'd love to invite
And
Mel.
listen, as far as Mel Gibson's concerned, and I know he's got his peccadillos in the past, he'll always be Martin Riggs to me.
Yeah.
He's always Lethal Weapon.
Yes, exactly. Always lethal. Although I did like him in The Patriot. I thought that was a great after The
movie.
Gladiator. You had
Great
Gladiator with Russell
movie.
Crowe and then The Patriot. That was a good run of those
Great
sort of
movie.
action thriller movies. And of course, he'll always be William Wallace. I mean, that's
true too. It's true
it's
too.
It's an iconic character.
I grew up on Lethal Weapon.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
Riggs and Murtaugh.
I get it. I don't disagree with you.
I think we broke Dominic.
We broke him. We want to get back to sports.
Completely flaccid.
We didn't. You're completely flaccid. Are you a grower or a shower? Because I'm a grower, so I
didn't
show
anticipate Dominic being anything other than flaccid.
Yes, that's true. I never pictured you hard, Dominic. Now that I am, it's sad. It's honestly sad.
Wow. Well,
but we do love you and you. Okay, so we'll go back to sports.
So Jesus is well hung.
Jesus, I'm telling you, and the vein can move. So like, okay, so yours is a little bit like he can do whatever needs to be done, and it's always going to be the right distance. Me personally, in my house, all the rulers start at 4 inches. Yep. So when I tell a girl you got 8, I'll prove it to you. How come there's no 1 through 3? Don't ask questions.
Let's be honest. The girls you're having over aren't looking at 1 through 3.
No, they don't care. It's fine. It's fine. They're just looking for free DoorDash. That's it.
You're happy to oblige.
Yeah, no problem. I'll pay the 12 extra bucks. We'll do it.
All right, so let's go from one fucked up subject to another.
Yep.
Richard Sherman.
Oh, man.
And in all seriousness, hopefully the guy's okay. I mean, like, I like
think he will be.
This whole thing seemed very out of character for him. Like, yeah. I don't know. I was kind of surprised when I saw the headline. Sounds like he drank like 2 bottles of liquor, which, I mean, all right, learn to hold your liquor a little better, Ricky.
Yeah. Like, down.
And was, contemplating suicide and banging on his in-laws' doors and a bunch of weird shit. I mean, for a guy who is currently a free agent, not good, right?
No, it's real bad. It's real bad. And for a guy that's a human, so I kind of felt bad for him because the universe went after him immediately. I mean, the
immediate reaction was he beat his wife. And that's not the case.
It doesn't look like he hit anybody. The only thing he hit was a guardrail, was hammered, did what I would do. Get the fuck out of here. Hopefully I don't go to jail tonight. Let's sort that out tomorrow morning.
We're not throwing him a pity party, but I mean, I hope the guy's okay.
Yeah, and by all accounts, it seems like he is. His wife was with him today in court. He didn't hurt anybody. All he did was crash his car into it. Now, he should not be banging on. So what it sort of tells me is there's some marital issues there, right? And maybe the family has some and I'm sitting here going, okay, so we're talking about a multimillionaire, one of the most famous athletes in the last 20 years, right? Especially for defensive players like Richard Sherman. Yeah. Richard Sherman, I mean, we're talking about a Stanford guy here, smart
guy, yes. By all accounts, a very intelligent man.
Executive vice president of the Players Association, like a lot of things going in his direction. If he decided to retire, he's never going to have to work another day in his life. As long as he spends his money right, everything's going to be fine for him.
Also, could probably have any number of jobs he wanted if he wanted.
Sure. I could think of plenty of teams. The Tennessee Titans stand out like a sore thumb. They just had a terrible defensive year. They got rid of their entire defensive backfield, who are actually pretty talented. You talked about Adoree Jackson, Malcolm Butler, Desmond King. They just didn't have a pass rush. They had the worst pass rush of any playoff team in the last 27 years since the 1982 Cincinnati Bengals, I want to say, was the last team to have fewer sacks as a playoff team going into the postseason. So, yeah, the opportunities would be there. But look, it's not always easy and we're on a much smaller scale. But we got people that love us, that are always good to us, and we got people that hate us. I got one out here that's gratefully watching the show. But it's not easy when you feel like you always have to be on and you always have to be perfect. And these are human beings too, So look, I'm glad nobody got hurt. I feel like the family maybe asked him for something and then he said no. And then there's been something feels a little bit off, because why would you go after the in-laws is a little bit bizarre for me. And that'd be the one area of concern for me. Didn't hit his wife. Isn't some piece of shit. He apologized profusely. I hope this doesn't hang over his head, because that's the whole problem with this country is you make one little fucking mistake. And next thing you know, that's how they identify you forever. And you're never allowed.
And Kyle, you're making a really good point. And this is something that people have to realize. Like when Dominic says, I'm not picking on you, Dominic, here, but you said don't throw him a pity party.
I'm not.
Would you want to be judged on the worst night of your life? None of us would, right? Like we've all done and said stupid things we wish we could take back, but you can't.
Yep.
Richard Sherman is not a guy who's got a bad reputation. He's not got a history of doing anything stupid. It would be really sad if his career ended this way, to me, because he is at the tail end of his career.
Yep.
And it would be really sad if this was the way it ended, because at the end of the day, nobody got hurt. He didn't hit anybody. He didn't try to hit anybody. He made poor decisions, okay? Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's a night that I guarantee you, if you talk to Richard Sherman right now, he wishes he could take back.
100%. 100%. And I know it's fun for us to come out here and bash all the guys, but I'm not trying to, what the hell is the deal with trying to kick everyone when they're down? There's no honor, there's no power, there's no strength, there's no integrity, there's no character in trying to root for somebody to fail. The people that I care about the most in my life and the people I respect the most in my life are people who, no matter what they're going through, are always rooting for people to succeed. When you're rooting for people to fail, what that says to me is you have no self-esteem, you are insecure, and you're so small that the only way you can find value is by demeaning someone else and kicking them when they're down. I don't think Richard Sherman's a bad guy. I think the whole thing sucks. I agree with you 100%. He would take it back in a split second if he could. The embarrassment that he's caused himself and his family, I think, is punishment enough. It's one of the reasons why you hope you're never so famous where everybody knows your name, because Jesus, that sucks.
It does. And listen, like I said, we've all done stupid shit in our lives. Like, don't throw rocks. We all live in a glass house, right?
Exactly.
And there is a difference between kicking Richard Sherman when he's down and kicking Greg Hardy when he's down, right?
Exactly. Greg Hardy is a piece of shit. He's a guy.
Certain things you do, and it exposes your character, right? And in other instances, it's just you can look at it as a human being and say it's a bad night. It's a bad night. I don't know what's going on in this guy's life. I don't know what's going on in his head, but he had a bad night. He responded to something poorly. You can move on from that. That's different than putting a bunch of guns on the table and choking your wife until she almost dies.
Is it crazy to think, by the way, that this is a guy who was at the height of his profession, the number one defensive back in all of football, probably the most famous defensive player in football, and now you're at the end of your career. You were injured all year last year. Teams are not calling. Your agent's phone is not ringing off the hook. That's a lonely spot to be when everything that you worked your whole life for and your whole identity
comes to an end suddenly.
It comes to an end like that. You're not allowed to have you're not allowed to have a pity party once in a while. I know I have pity parties sometimes. I get a couple baseball picks wrong and I'm like, shit, I fucking suck today. And this is that burden of always trying to be successful and always trying to be good can weigh on anybody.
Of course it can.
And I think it's so small of people to try to rip this man down. Again, I'm not a big Richard Sherman fan. I'm a 49er fan. He did play for us for a couple of years, but I hated him when he was with the Seahawks. I hated him. Someone alluded to it in the chat box when he talked about Michael Crabtree and said those unfortunate comments after he barely knocked that ball away. Actually, it wasn't even him who did it. It was the middle linebacker. His name's eluding me right now, but nonetheless, be better. Your dick's not going to get bigger for making fun of somebody else, okay? Have more confidence in yourself. There's a whole lot more power in rooting for somebody than rooting for them to fail, in my opinion.
It costs you nothing to want other people to succeed.
Exactly. I that's just how I feel about it, and that's how I raise my son. That's what I tell everyone who ever asks me. What Bobby Wagner? Thank you very much, Dominic. That was very good. Bobby Wagner hit it by the tip of his fingernail, but still, I mean, he's kind of a pariah. That doesn't mean we're rooting for him to be. This guy's not a piece of shit. He got a little drunk, acted out a little bit, wilded out, hit a guardrail. He's gonna have to pay his fine. There's no reason for us to root for that guy to fail. None, zero whatsoever.
Speaking of good job by Dominic, we were talking before the show, and maybe you guys can help us here. There was a citrus drink in the 90s called Surge Cola.
Yeah, that's right.
A failed citrus drink, which advertised itself as being loaded with carbos. So it shows you the change in times. Can anybody tell us who the NBA player was that was affiliated with Surge Cola? If anybody can do that,
I was desperate to find that because I know it was somebody. I feel like it was like Alonzo Mourning or was it John Starks maybe?
Larry Johnson feels right there. I don't know. I mean, it's somebody's got to know this. Surge Cola. There was an NBA player affiliated with him. Who was it? You guys tell us.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about other smallish people in the world. We saw a couple of days ago the Red Sox outfielder Alex Verdugo hit with a baseball from a fan in Yankee Stadium. Hell of a move by the fan to throw a baseball at Verdugo and almost instigated a real problem.
Yeah.
The Yankees came out today and said that he was banned for life. And the question that I have for you, Kyle, the first thing that popped into my mind is, can you really enforce that?
Yeah. Do they have a face recognition?
Is this
camera?
guy not going to be able to walk into Yankee Stadium 2 months from now?
Yeah, no, of course you can. Because, we just had a guy. Now, luckily, it wasn't inside the stadium. So when the news first broke, it seemed like someone was shooting up a baseball game, but it was outside the stadium.
Yeah.
But we're right, and I apologize for the dogs across the street. My neighbor's going to get yelled at for that later, but she's a sweet, sweet lady. But if you can't figure out who's outside the stadium firing shots and killing people, you're telling me you can identify perfectly some guy walking in who you kicked out 3 months ago? You have 50,000 fucking people there. There's no way in hell that that's possible. They can't enforce it. And I will say, when I saw it happen, I thought back to, this guy's just trying to get a major league contract. Remember that movie Rookie of the Year? It was early 90s. Yeah. Remember? It had
rifled it to the catcher.
Yes. Remember the kid broke his arm and then he catches the foul ball and he goes whoosh. And next thing you know, they're calling him up and trying to give him a contract. That guy was just taking his opportunity to show that he had a hooch. Give the guy a break. And it's Alex fucking Verdugo. Who cares? For $1 trillion, if Alex Verdugo walked right by you, would you know it's Alex Verdugo?
I would not.
No, of course not. So who gives a fuck? That's what I say. Who cares? The fan hit him. Give the guy a contract. Let him come throw in the bullpen for a little while. Who gives a shit? That's what I say.
All right. I'm not.
Am I
really that far off?
That?
No, I'm not. I just think that the ban is kind of silly. There's no way you can force that ban. This guy's going to go to Yankee Stadium again. If I was him, I'd try to go again this season.
I would go right now.
Shits and giggles.
Just to give you an example. So today I went out to the golf course, and yesterday there was a tournament that I did not play in. So we get out there, and there's a bunch of people on the driving range, and one of the kids who works inside goes, "Hey, you see that guy up there in the green? He tried to cheat yesterday. He cut holes in his pants and was trying to drop balls on the fairway, and they caught him. And he was out there the next day practicing to play in the next tournament. Do you think anyone knew besides the one kid that knew he got caught? No one knew.
Dropping balls out of holes in his pants?
Yes, he was. And this old guy was getting after it today. He had the hat on. He's swinging his little fucking heart out. He had 4 buckets of balls. It was beautiful. But he just got caught cheating in a tournament the day before, was right back at the same golf course, because no one knows. How the fuck are they going to know? It's New York. They don't know. What the hell do they know in New York? Nothing. They know absolutely nothing. They still think the Mets are a legitimate baseball team.
Hey, Steve Cohen owns that team now. Who knows? Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, cheers, by the way. There's a little tequila shot just for everyone on the show.
Let's talk about some news outside of the major sports. Came out today that U.S. women's tennis player Coco Gauff tested positive for COVID, and she won't be able to play in the Olympics. I'm not a big tennis guy, but I got to tell you, I don't understand it. If you are a high-level athlete and the Olympics means something to you, why are you not vaccinated?
I don't understand it. And to take it a step further, because first of all, these athletes, when you're putting so much on the line, just get the goddamn shot and fucking move on. But we are so far along into this thing now. I don't know about you, and I talk to friends from all over the country, talk to fans from all over the country. I don't know a single person who anymore cares about fucking COVID.
Nobody.
It's done.
Nobody.
You have had plenty of time. Those who want to get the shot have gotten it. Those who do not want to get the shot are not going to go get it because you offer them a 12-pack of Bud Light. They're not going to go get it because you fucking offer them a ticket to a fucking baseball game they could buy for $8. If there's been plenty of time, it's time to drop this and say, listen, and say whatever you think. So, if the CDC and whatever says, listen, COVID's still very dangerous. If you get it, you could die, blah, 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 blah. Listen, the risks. But say, listen, you've had plenty of time. The amount of vaccines, if you can walk into any pharmacy right now,
anywhere in America,
any vaccine you want, the supply is there. If they don't want to get it, and you have been vaccinated and the vaccine works as you said it does, then who gives a fuck? It's time to say, look, you're on your own. If you die, you die. This is up to you, and people have that choice. Look, people decide to fly in airplanes. It's not a guarantee you're going to land and live. If you die, you die. There's a lot of things in life now that we have that are just as risky as COVID that we do every single day. You've had plenty of fucking time to get the vaccine. It's time to stop punishing everybody. It's time to stop the pity party. It's time to stop the whining. It's time to stop the testing. If you want your shot, you've gotten it. You've had plenty of time. It's available to everybody. Will say, in America, absolutely. I'm not speaking for other countries because, of course, there's different issues there. Me and my son, we've both been this is a vaccinated household. We can do whatever we want without. My parents have both been vaccinated. The elder people in my family have decided to get the vaccine. And I'm not bashing people for not getting it. I think
will.
you're
all right. You won't.
Yeah, no, I will. Actually,
I think you're a fucking idiot if you
don't. Yes,
I
do too. I think you're.
I think you're an idiot. Okay.
Yeah,
if there was a vaccine for the common cold, I would fucking get it. Okay. Yes. I don't want to get sick. Period.
Exactly. And
okay. And for the people out there, Kyle, who are saying, "Well, we don't know what's in this." Do you know what's in the polio vaccine? Do you know what kind of testing it went through? You have no fucking idea. All you know is you want to use your legs, right?
Do you know what's in the milk you drink? Of course you fucking don't. So, you know what? I'm sorry I was being a pussy there, but I'm going to go back to your side because they are fucking idiots. Because the same people who don't want to get the vaccine are the same people going, we just want everything to open back up and get back to normal.
And you know
if you want things to open back up and get back to normal, take the fucking shot.
We don't talk a ton of politics here, but this is a Trump thing, right? Like Trump made this a political thing. Yes, and I don't hate Donald Trump. Like I think Donald Trump did plenty of good things as president. I don't have any problem with his economic policies. But like if you want to sit here and say, and I'm willing to bet that 95% of the people who are opposed to getting this vaccine are Trump supporters.
Yep.
Donald Trump got the vaccine.
Yeah,
he himself
he wanted the credit for it.
The vaccine.
He wanted the credit for it. That's why they rushed it.
Fucking problem. Just get the vaccine. Let's end this shit.
Yeah, it's just silly. Exactly. You can't be bitching that you want the world to open back up and you want your life to go back to normal and not get the fucking vaccine. Get the fucking vaccine. And once the numbers go up, guess what? We're not talking about it anymore.
No. Your own stupidity, your own ignorance, and your own bullshit is the reason that things are still where they are. My mind was blown the other day when they canceled the first baseball game since the All-Star break. Because of COVID. Me too. And I'm like, if I'm the owner of one of those sports teams and one of my players tests positive, now
trust me, I'm not ignorant on this. I understand that you can still test positive after getting the vaccine, but you're also not able to pass it on. So you're of no risk. So if you feel fine and you're good and you've gotten the shot, you should be able to play. But if I own that team and I find out you got COVID and your stupid ass isn't vaccinated and I'm paying you fucking $3 million a fucking year to be on the field, you're dumbass. We would have had those shots injected in your fucking eyeballs.
And let me tell you this.
Get the fuck out of here.
And let me tell you this. I will criticize. Okay. Hold on.
Oh my God.
We need to go through this because I'm gonna take this.
I know another person who says this.
I'm gonna take this on. It changes your rDNA because if you catch the virus, it doesn't change. Okay. Here's the deal. You're an idiot, Walter. You're an idiot. Okay.
Just dumb as shit.
You don't understand the way vaccines work. All right, because this has been happening for years and years and years with vaccines you get that you don't even know what the fuck they are. And if you're one of these people who's an anti-vaccine person in general, go fuck yourself. All right. We don't need sickness and illness in our society. Do you honestly think that there's a vaccine being put out that everyone in the fucking world is going to get? Let's be honest here, Kyle. Everyone needs this vaccine. Everyone wants it. Do you think we're all going to be extinct in a decade?
Look,
and if we are, then so be it. Then we're all in the same fucking boat.
I didn't get the shot because I was afraid to die of COVID. I'm young enough and healthy enough that if I got COVID, I probably
got the shot because I don't want to miss out on anything else.
Exactly. I got the shot to add the numbers up so the country could open back up so that people who aren't around me can go back to normal.
That's it.
That is what be unselfish. Shut the fuck up. And to touch on the rDNA. So I did some research on this because I actually have a friend who told me the same bullshit. First of all, the vaccine doesn't ever interact with the nucleus of your cells. So the only way you could ever change the rDNA is if that was actually interacting with the nucleus of your cells. But what it does, it actually protects the exterior of your cells and stops the COVID from getting into the nucleus of your cells, which gives you the virus and makes you sick. So Walter,
let me go one step further.
You're fucking stupid.
Do you think that Walter Huff knows what the fuck rDNA is or what it does in the body?
I don't think he's looked up a single thing. Because if he would have looked that up, because I've heard this before, so I looked it up just for fun. You're just wrong. Now, you're probably also believe the earth is flat. You're probably on the Kyrie Irving spectrum. It's nonsense.
You're fucking listen, I will say this again. Donald Trump, I don't think, handled COVID great. He contracted the disease, which showed it wasn't fake. It wasn't a hoax. He had it. And then he got vaccinated.
Yeah. And then didn't tell anyone that he did.
So shut the fuck up and get vaccinated.
Exactly. And they had to use like miracle drugs to save his old unhealthy ass. Things that none of us had any exposure to, by the way. We couldn't get any of those drugs. And we're now finding out that he was vaccinated right after that and then wouldn't admit it to you guys. And listen, it's not your fault. I understand. You worship someone. You love someone. It is what it is. I'm not going to sit here and besmirch you for it.
Criticize any of it. All I'm going to say is just fucking get a vaccine.
Once the numbers go up, we will never have to talk about this again. And that's the goal. Let's get this shit out of the way, right? It's over. We're done.
And you know what? The bottom line is, Kyle, there's still fucking children that can't be vaccinated. And I don't want your kid or my kid or anyone else's kid to contract COVID because you're a fucking dumbass.
Exactly.
Okay? So just get a vaccine and stop being an idiot.
Yep. If there's one thing you could take from the show, take all the betting tips, take the plus money spots, get the shot so we can just stop talking about this. I don't want to see any more mask regulations.
It's been a year and a half of our lives.
Yeah. And they all want it to be over, and they don't want to do one simple. It takes 5 minutes. You can walk into your local grocery store. If it has a pharmacy, they will give you your shot. It's over in 5 minutes. I promise you won't die. I took both shots. Guess what? I went golfing both days. I drank my ass off.
I felt fine. I asked them when they gave me the shot, is there any counterindication to alcohol? Because I'm going to drink tonight.
Yeah. I'll admit my arm hurt for like a day and a half. My right arm did hurt for a day and a half. But give me a fucking break. And Sparty touched on it beautifully. The same people who call you soft are the same ones so afraid. Exactly. That is a beautiful comment. It's absolutely right. Go take the shot. Quit being fucking selfish. Let's open up the world and let's get back to normal. Enough is
Guys,
enough.
medicine is not politics.
No, it
Okay?
shouldn't be.
It's
It
not.
shouldn't
And
be.
I'm going to go you one step further. If we rewound the clock to fucking April of 2020, when every state in this country was shutting down, including Texas and Georgia and every Republican state was shutting down. If we would have told you in April of 2020, we got a vaccine for this,
Take a shot.
everyone
and
would have
everything
lined
opens
up
up.
and taken it.
Goddamn
Okay?
right. They don't want to now because their fucking daddy didn't win.
So stop.
They're making up conspiracy theories outside of they think that he's coming back to power next month or something. I mean, the crazy shit has gotten so fucking far out of whack. I don't know how to get it back.
No,
and I want to. And we've worked on this. And by the way, I know we've kind of been bagging on that sort of fringe right here for a moment.
I was going to go the other way, but go ahead. I think you're going the same direction.
The fringe left
Same
is so much more annoying.
Same thing.
They're ruining the country in a different way.
When I turn on the news, when I get a fucking Sunday newspaper, it's the only day I get a newspaper delivered to my house, and I see something that says CDC warns the fall may be the worst season of all for COVID. I don't want to fucking hear about it.
Yeah, go fuck
There's
yourself.
a vaccine. I'm vaccinated. This pandemic ended for me the day I got that second shot.
That's correct.
It was over.
That's correct.
Okay? So it is absolutely both sides that are crazy people, but just fucking get the shot.
Who are the people out here, I would bet $1 million. I mean, our first show, Tim Allen, is telling us how we're not woke enough and how we're pieces of shit because we weren't going to. So both sides, the fringe of both sides are ruining this country. When can we figure out to get to the middle and have some common sense and stop freaking out like
Kyle, that's a beautiful sentiment, because when I was a trial lawyer and I would pick a jury, you know what I would always say to them? All I ask of you is that you use your common sense. Yep. Your God-given common sense is all that I will ask of you in this room.
Yeah,
that's it. Not going to ask you to understand complex statutes or scientific material. I'm going to ask you to apply common sense and say, does this make sense?
Right.
That's it. That's all I'm going to ask of you. And that's all I ask of anybody else in society, is to apply common sense. There is a vaccine that billions of people will take. Do you think that the government is killing people or microchipping people or doing whatever the fuck crazy thing you think is happening? And if so, why haven't they done it before? Because there are more common vaccines than this.
I mean, and it's so obvious. And again, this is a lack of research by those people saying those things. So they're like, well, this got passed very quickly and it's not FDA approved. The reason for that is because back in the day when they were going through these vaccinations, it was a perpendicular line. So it would be testing here, you run it through here, and it goes this way. When the federal government says, hey, we're allowed to do all things at the same time, you get these parallel lines.
Yep.
If you've ever studied electricity or how things work in that way, they work a little bit faster. So no, it's not FDA approved. By the way, the FDA approves about 1% of the meat that you eat every fucking year.
Correct.
So
you'd
stop
be astounded if you saw the shit you actually ate.
Yeah. So stop telling me that you care about what the FDA approves, because I promise you that steak you ate last night.
You think the FDA approves the shit you eat at Taco Bell that's 80% chicken? What the fuck is the other 20%?
Exactly. So
not FDA approved.
But it's not using actual facts. And the fact that these sports teams with access to all this money, access to all this research, all the doctors, who in the fuck, especially if you're a professional athlete, if you're not taking this, you're just fucking burning.
And I'm going to go you
team.
one step further, Kyle. I blame these sports leagues for not mandating it.
Yes,
because they are, and I can't wait for the inevitable comment here. I'm a lawyer.
Yeah.
It's a private industry. They are welcome to mandate whatever the fuck they want for employment. If you went to a private university, in this country in the last 30 years, you had to be vaccinated for meningitis.
Let me give a quick shout out to my boy Justin. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate your support. He's been supporting me for years, and I love you, buddy. Thank you very much.
A private industry is able to mandate whatever the fuck they choose to mandate as long as it does not violate certain protected classes, sex, race, religion, etc.
Bingo.
Anti-vaccination is not one of those classes, okay? And these sports leagues should have mandated it. And if you don't want the vaccine, you don't have to play.
You don't have to play. You don't have to get paid. And you're right. Like for some reason, people think, like the First Amendment's a great example. And you're a lawyer, so you'll probably be better at this than I am.
Great example. Go ahead.
But the First Amendment is an amazing example. Because let's say you put out a tweet, I'm going to Kyle's house, we're gonna fucking party, and I'm gonna say blah 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 blah, and you just whatever it is. And then I go, oh, I didn't know he was gonna say that. Guess what? You're not coming to my house and saying it. You're still allowed to say it.
Listen, I'll give you a better example.
You're allowed.
The First Amendment says
if you're a private company, and when you're an entity, you're allowed to say, listen, you're not going to use my platform for your beliefs. That doesn't mean you can't say it. You can say it anywhere you want. You can run out to the middle of the fucking street and scream it from your lungs. But there are consequences for what you say.
Correct. It's the example that I will always give people with the First Amendment, and you brought up a great point. I can't walk up into an airport at the TSA security line and yell bomb, right?
No, you cannot.
But I can walk outside my house on my front lawn and yell it till I'm blue in the fucking lungs.
Yeah, you can say it right now. You can say it right now.
Because there's a difference between the government and a private entity.
Exactly. People just think because it's a First Amendment right that they can say it with no consequence, and they think consequence is restricting what they do. No, consequences are you're a fucking idiot, you behaved poorly, and here's the consequences for it. Say whatever the fuck you want, wherever the fuck you want, but if you don't want consequences, make sure you're in a place where you can suffer no consequences. That's how the world works. And people are so soft now and so driven to being, everyone wants to be a victim. It's like what fucking makes them come. It's just, oh, I'm jerking off in my pants because I'm a victim. No, be a real person, say what you want, but just know you don't get to do it wherever you want, however you want.
And the victimization of this culture
is ridiculous.
Is so spot on, because I would say probably 5 to 10 years ago, it was almost all liberals, right? Mm-hmm. Anything you said offended a liberal. Political correctness reigned supreme.
It's a horrible
pandemic. But
nowadays,
conservatives are just as equally offended by everything you say. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd.
By everything. I'm sure you go through the same thing. When we're done with this, I get people like, how dare you say that? And they're from a lot of people. I'm like, you would be surprised to know that you and I are on the same side of the spectrum. We agree on the same things. But I'm just not going to sit here and victimize people. One of my very best friends, he's a business partner of mine. He's a black man. We talk about this all the time, where I'm like, hey, they come out and say, this is the most racist time in the history of this country. Really?
I would say,
are you kidding me?
More racist.
Because I remember 60 years ago when Willie Mays couldn't stay in the same hotel as his teammates. I
would say when we actually enslaved people was more racist.
Yes, and even so, it's okay to accept progress. Do we have work to do? Fuck yeah, we do. Of course we do. So much work to do, and they're like, no racism is okay, but denying the fact that we have progressed and we are making strides in the right direction all it does is besmirch all the work everyone before you has done, and it besmirches all of the progression that the other side has done. And when you do that to people, and when you treat them as if they're doing something wrong just by being who they are, you immediately make them defensive. How are you ever going to get someone on your side when you're defensive?
You're not.
You're a lawyer. That'll never happen.
You're not,
right?
because you
right.
immediately get your back up and you start arguing the other side. And let me ask you a question, Kyle. You talked about race just there for a second, and I totally agree with you. We have a long way to go. Like, this is not – I'm not going to sit here and say that we live in a paradise, because we do not. But can I ask you honestly, did you ever think in your lifetime you'd see a black president before a woman?
No, I didn't. No, I fucking didn't. And I thought it was a great time for our country, and I thought it was a turning point. I had no idea it would turn. I do agree we've gone backwards the last 10 years. I do think we've gone backwards. I do. I really do. But it was still like a moment that made me happy, because I have so many dear friends, people who are family, like their kids call me Uncle Kyle. And I look at them, and I do have to tell them, you have to act differently around a cop than my son does because of the color of your skin.
Agreed.
And that's fucking sad. It's bullshit. It's ridiculous. It's pathetic. And it shows a lack of evolution by our country. But I do also think that you're not doing any, like we talk about Kyrie Irving, like players sitting out and you're not doing any service by playing the victim. What we have to do is embrace the progression and then try to move it forward in a positive way. You're never going to get it done in a negative way. It's never going to happen.
No, because what Kyrie Irving fails to realize is, and I'm not going to doubt that he cares deeply about these issues.
I know he does.
I'm not going to doubt that at all. But what I'm going to say is that he fails to realize that the majority of Americans view him through the lens of somebody making $40 million a year to play a game.
Exactly.
Okay? And so when you can't even be bothered to show up to work,
it's not going to work.
It doesn't fly with most people who are working bullshit jobs just to make ends meet. Exactly. They're going to look at you and say you're a prima donna. Yep. And rightfully so. I'm sorry. There's no other way to put it. Listen, I think LeBron James cares deeply about these issues. He shows up. He talks about them.
I think
he shows up.
A great role model.
The microphone, Kyle, disappears when you stop playing.
Yep. Agreed. Well, agreed. I actually think the microphone amplifies, but in a negative direction. It's like, oh, well, look at him. He's trying to punish us because we don't agree with him. You don't get anywhere by demeaning somebody because they don't agree with you. It just doesn't work that way. Now, it's easy to do. Trust me, there's plenty of people who have arguments opposed to mine, and in my head, as imperfect as I am, I'm like, you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. And if you think you're going to convince people who thought that Donald Trump was the right answer for this country, if you think you're going to convince them to come to your side by sitting out and not doing your job when you're making a wealthy salary, it's just not going to, that's just not how it's going to work. You have to be realistic about this. There's no perfect answer. There's no fucking magic ball. There's no, there's not going to be a snap of a finger and everyone all agrees. You have to do it incrementally. And I know that's not easy. I know that's not fun. I know it's not fair. I don't think even that it's right. There's a lot of things that I think should be changed right now. But we can't do it. And I think that comment by Sparty is perfect, because it's impossible. It's almost impossible to have a logical conversation now. Politics has divided the sports world, the political world, the family life, everything. Schools. Politics has become so involved, and you can blame social media for that for the most part. I can never remember knowing what my parents would vote for.
It wasn't, Kyle, and I think this started during the Obama era. And I don't know if it was Obama, if it was social media, I don't know what it was, but things became so divisive to the point where it was, if you're for it, I'm against it.
Yep.
And
exactly.
That was not the case in the past, right? Like, you look at George W. Bush, a president that a lot of Democrats hated. 99 senators out of 100 voted to go to war in Iraq with George W. Bush.
Yep.
Bill Clinton, a Democrat who Republicans voted to impeach, they sided with him. Bill Clinton signed an assault weapons ban, and the trade-off was, well, we'll give you 100,000 more police officers on the street.
Yeah.
There was compromise.
And they also sided with him in the Bosnia when they bombed Milosevic.
Yes, there was compromise. There was middle ground. There seems to be in this country in general, politics, sports, like you said, everything. There's no middle ground anymore.
No,
it's you're for something, I'm against it. Fuck you.
Yeah, because no one will say anything bad about their side. So, I'm fine. I'm probably a moderate Democrat, I would say, because I agree with Democrats on the social issues in terms of racism and expanding things for minority families. That's kind of like a special place for me, and for women as well. I had a wonderful mother who had to struggle through things because of bad policy.
Kyle, that's where most people fall, is the middle. I voted for Obama the first time, Romney the second time. I sat out Trump, Clinton. And I voted for Joe Biden the second time because the January 6th stuff was just a little too much for me.
It was a little too far.
When you've got people storming the United States Capitol, that's a little too much.
Yep. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But where I want to get to is, I do think that, so I want to place blame. Like I said, I'm a moderate Democrat. I'll put the blame on the people who are in my so-called corner. That was one big mistake that we made when John McCain was running for president. I'll never forget Obama and John McCain. I'll never forget it. When everyone was saying Barack Obama, he's the first black guy. Yeah, he's a Muslim. Remember that lady stood up at that town hall?
And McCain corrected her.
And McCain said, "No, ma'am. He's actually a good man. And he's a good person. We just have differences of opinion. We just have difference of policy opinion, and there's nothing wrong with policy differences. That's exactly what we need to have.
John McCain was.
But we bashed him. The Democrats bashed him. They beat him to the ground.
The problem is, though, Kyle, so did Republicans.
Yes, but they beat him to the ground. And it's like, look, we lost credibility there. You can't beat up on a guy. You can't attack someone because they have a. You can disagree with their policy, but when you start attacking the person they are, especially a guy like John McCain, who was a war hero and sacrificed everything for this country, we did a bad move. And it turned people saying, you know what? We put up the most honorable man we could, and you guys did everything you could to smash him. So they have a right to be angry. Now that anger has turned into psychotic racism.
Well, but then 8 years later, you're supporting a guy who says, "I like my war heroes not to be captured."
Exactly, but to them, that's not how that registered. That's not how that registered. Anyone who voted
for Donald Trump, and we've turned this into a political hour, so fuck it.
It's fun. It's fun. It's good.
Anybody who voted for Donald Trump and considers himself a Republican, think long and hard about what you've sacrificed for this country.
Well, Donald Trump was a Democrat
because John McCain.
Donald Trump donated to Hillary. Donald Trump donated to Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton.
Sure did. Campaign. John McCain sacrificed his fucking life for this country. Was willing to die for this country for years. Years. We're not talking he was held captive for weeks or months. Years. He lost the use of an arm. Okay.
The dude showed up to vote for a medical bill that would kill millions of people with 2 days after brain surgery to remove a tumor. That's a real fucking man, and I don't agree with all his policy. That's an American,
but I don't agree with it. I'm with you. I don't agree with everything he says or did, but
that's a man we should honor. And we made a mistake. We made a mistake when we attacked him when Obama was running because we were so feverish in making sure the first and Obama. Smart, just like a brilliant fucking genius. Like Obama's the smartest room in every room.
Barack Obama is probably the best. I don't know how we keep getting back to this. He's the best orator since Adolf Hitler.
Yeah, 100%. No,
because say what you want about Adolf Hitler, the man knew how to give.
And he had good intentions. He was a good family man.
Barack Obama was that.
But we used that platform and we besmirched a good man, and I think that's where we started to really divide this. Is when we started attacking their heroes And I think it sent them on an extreme side. And we got it both ways. We do. I mean, the extreme left is so annoying, and they're just so
It's the worst. It's the fucking worst. You look at someone the wrong way and you're a racist or a sexist.
Exactly.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. I'm glad we get to talk about this because I actually enjoy talking about this, and it's an interesting. Like 50 years from now, it's going to be political science. That's what they're going to talk about.
50 years from now, Kyle, your son is what, 16?
Yes, he is.
He's going to learn it, and he's going to take an entire course in college. I would bet you dollars to donuts on 2020.
Yep. Yes, he will. Yes, he will. And the most important thing I want to teach him is we have got to stop belittling people and identifying them based on their vote. I never would have known in a million years who my parents voted for.
Because the reality of the situation is most of us agree on most things, right? Like take abortion. For some reason, we're still talking about abortion 70 years after it's been handled by the Supreme Court. And we talk about it because it's a fundraising issue for both sides. Yep. They both make a ton of money off of it.
It's all
but the reality of it is,
Supreme Court's all about abortion. That's all it's about.
I think most people would agree that abortion is a tragedy. It should be legal, and it should happen far less than it should.
Yep.
Right?
Well, and here's the funny thing about abortion. So I looked into this. So I'm actually very pro-abortion because I do not want to have another kid, and I like to raw dog things. Okay? So
you're the problem.
But I mean, we got to add some comedy relief to this, for fuck's sake. But I do like to raw dog. But here's the thing: if you look at abortion numbers since 1970, they have gone exponentially down. Last year was the lowest rate of abortion ever in the history of this country. So why are we making it an issue when it's already fixing itself? Education, experience, and more education and access to health care for young people has absolutely fixed this problem. Abortion is lower now than it's ever been in the history of this country, yet it's still the most important issue when people go to the polls. It's unbelievable.
Which is crazy because, again, as a lawyer, I'll tell you this: you will never find 5 justices to overturn it. The Supreme Court of the United States, the very first decision that they made in Marbury versus Madison was stare decisis in Latin. It means the decision stands. Yeah. They have overturned themselves exactly one time in our history, and that was on slavery. Abortion will not be number 2. It won't be. You will never find 5 justices to overturn.
Gun rights will be number 2.
You won't find it. It's more likely than it is to be abortion. You will not find 5 votes to overturn Roe versus Wade. You won't do it. And the reason why is most Republican-leaning justices tend to be originalists with the Constitution, meaning they believe it as it is written.
You think a Republican guy who claims to love church hasn't had to pay for an abortion from some 19-year-old he knocked up? Of course they have.
Baby.
Come on, man. Like what are we talking about here?
Kavanaugh? He likes a lot of beer.
He's paid for at least 4. Trump, like 7. Guaranteed. I would put the over-under Trump abortions paid for at 6.5. Straight up. And I don't blame him for it. It's fine. I get it. I'm in.
I know you're in.
I mean, I'm in. But it's true. It's why do we make issues that are already fixing themselves issues? Abortion's down. It's down. The thing we need to be focusing on is why are we sitting here on Twitter finding out that baseball games are being postponed because people are shooting outside, and then they cling to the Second Amendment, which I'll be really controversial if you want to hear. If you actually read the Second Amendment, it's supposed to be a well-organized armed militia that doesn't give you the right because your name is Billy Bob and you fucked your goat. Doesn't mean you're allowed to have 45 guns.
All right.
It means if our country was being invaded and we needed to protect ourselves, which, by the way, anyone who says I have my guns in case the government takes me over, they have tanks and bombs and jets.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Your AK means nothing.
I.e. Waco. Just watch Waco and see what happened there.
Yes, they misinterpret the Second Amendment, in my opinion. again, it's my humble opinion. You can think
No, I will say this. I'm a gun guy. I live in Florida. We have very lax gun laws. I like to have a gun in my home to protect myself. However, I do think there is a difference between having a handgun in your home and having an assault weapon, which is only used for the purpose of killing human beings.
And having a hard on every time a gun's around. Like, imagine being a clerk at like a Walmart where they sell guns, right? And the guy comes in.
We sell them here.
And he's like, you know what? I need a gun and I need it now. Oh, okay. You can't wait a couple weeks? No. I fucking need it now, and I need the fucking mega clip. And come on, guys. Can't we have a reasonable? We're the most armed country in the world. We have more gun deaths. England has 81 gun deaths a year. The United States, 32,000. 32,000.
I think if we eliminate, but here's the thing that I would say, Kyle, is that when you look at these mass shooting events, right? Like the things that are god awful that we see happen, it's always the same gun, right? It's always an AR-15. Yeah. It's always a semi-automatic weapon. There is no legitimate, and this is my view of it as a lawyer, is tell me the legitimate purpose for the gun. I understand if you want to have a shotgun and you're a hunter and that's your thing, fine. I understand if you want to have a handgun in a safe in your bedroom for self-defense, fine.
Get it. Yeah.
Tell me the legitimate purpose for having a semi-automatic rifle. Because I don't know what it is other than I want it.
You're so scared. I think if you think that you need a semi-automatic rifle in your home for safety, you need to fucking move. Yeah. You need to leave your house, live in your fucking car. Because if you're so scared for your well-being that you need a gun that fires off 60 rounds a fucking second or whatever the hell it is.
I mean, that's just ridiculous. And I remember having this conversation once with a cop, and it's when I was a prosecutor and I was looking at a gun to buy, and I was asking him like, how big of a magazine did I need? And he's like, get a revolver with 6 shots. He's like, number one, the revolver won't ever jam. And number two, if you fire more than 6 shots in self-defense, you have a bigger problem on your hands.
Exactly. So I will tell you this. So I'm not a big gun guy. I don't understand the hard-ons that people have, and they just like jerk themselves off to all this nonsense with their guns. I do have one gun. I don't plan on ever using it. I do not go to the range and practice with it. But the first bullet, so it's a revolver, as you talked about. The first bullet's rubber. So if anyone ever breaks into my house and I shoot at them, it's not going to kill them. It's going to hurt them really bad.
Oh, see, if you break into my house, you're going down.
Yeah, I don't know if I can live with just me personally, and I'm not saying this is for everybody, and I'm not saying I'm right about this at all. It's just my own. First of all, I'm a single dad, so I have to clean up all the mess. So I don't want a lot of blood all over the
Okay? That's true. A lot of people don't realize you shoot someone in your house, the cops are not cleaning that blood up. That's on you.
Messy as fuck. I don't want
That's on you to clean up.
And I feel like if I give them a little warning thing, they get a little rubber bullet in their shin, they'll probably back off. And that's just where I'm at. And again, I'm not saying that's for everybody, but my God, like every day, all you have to do is click on Twitter. You just open up your Twitter to answer like a question from a fan or, someone who watches your show. And the first thing you see trending is, 4 dead and shooting in blah, 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 7 dead here. Enough's got to be enough. We got to get more reasonable about that. In my opinion, we got to get more reasonable.
But again, I think you're right. I think reasonable is the answer, right? Like reasonable is the answer. I don't have a problem with people using guns to hunt. I really don't have a problem with you having a gun in your home. If you want to have a handgun, a 9mm upstairs, fine. I can't get my head around you needing an assault weapon.
Or 43 of them, or 18 of them.
An assault weapon is specifically designed by the military to kill large groups of people. Exactly. What is the legitimate purpose for it?
Yeah.
Well, that's what we ask ourselves in the law, Kyle. When you are trying to pass a law You say, what is the legitimate purpose of the law?
Yeah.
What is the legitimate purpose of this gun? Tell me. I would love to hear it from someone.
Then I get all sorts of crazy stories. Oh, I think it's fun, and I have the right to have fun, and you like to go golfing.
Does that mean you have the right to a bazooka? Does that mean you have the right to a rocket launcher? Where does it end? Where does it end?
That's where I'm at too. I'll never understand it. I really won't. I really won't, and I get it. People like it for sport, this, that, and the third. I think that's all bullshit to try to appease to your own biases. I'm not buying it. I think it's small dick syndrome. If you're that afraid in your neighborhood where you need fucking 60 rounds in 1 minute,
and
you better get yourself a. You better get yourself.
We were this close to another mass shooting at Coors Field.
Yes, we were. Yes, we fucking were. And the access to guns in America is more than any other country in the world.
Of course it is. You can go you can get a gun. Listen, when you live in a state like I do, I don't know how it is where you are. When you're in a state like where I am in Florida, there are signs constantly every week for a gun show. Okay. Now I may go into a Walmart or a Dick's Sporting Goods and they may make me wait a few days. At a gun show, there's a loophole for that. I go in there, I pay cash, I walk out with the gun.
Especially in Florida. Florida is the fucking. I mean, people walk dogs in Florida and get eaten by alligators. So I don't.
Florida's America.
Florida's crazy as fuck. It's so crazy. I call Washington the Florida of the West Coast, and it's still not crazy enough to earn that.
No, it's not.
Although
you guys did like annex a city last year.
I mean, for fuck's sake. I don't live in Washington, but my sister lives up there in Seattle. I drive up there, but man, I don't know. I love that we can talk about these things because it is.
Why not?
And look,
Sunday night.
These are the things that this is how it should be talked about. Like, okay, give me the reason. Give me the why. And can we start to maybe we save one fucking life? And James is so right in the chat. People are scared. I'm not. Like my gun, it would take me fucking 20 seconds to get to it. I just don't live that way. I don't live that way. And the idea of actually shooting someone and killing them makes me cringe. Like just it just makes.
And let me tell you something. For those of you who have never been around dead bodies, who have died a violent death, it's not something you want to see.
No, it's not.
It's the fucking worst. Yep. It is the absolute worst thing. It will haunt you in your sleep.
Yep.
I remember when I was a prosecutor, we'd be on call at nights, and you'd get a call and you need to turn up somewhere in the middle of the night, and someone would have died of a gunshot. The smell of the body, the sights of you will never get that out of your head. You just won't.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And you're forgetting, like, you make a split-second reaction with
and a life's ended.
And a life's ended. And it's not just that person's life. It's that family, the kids, the wives, the husbands, the mothers, the fathers, the brothers, the sisters. Use more fucking common sense. And if you bought a bunch of guns because a girl most of these guys who are doing these mass shootings are guys that girls wouldn't ever think about fucking.
They can't get laid.
Yeah, they can't get laid. Jerk off more. Fucking
go to a rub and tug.
Do a rub and tug. And if you're look, anyone watching this show, if you're thinking about shooting somebody because you haven't gotten fucked, hit me up. I'll PayPal you a couple $100. I'll get you a hooker. Let's just save some lives. Get the fuck out of here.
You're better off just sending them the hooker directly because they might use a couple $100 to buy another gun.
Yeah, that's true. That's fact. So yeah, just let me know. Like, I'm gonna kill myself. I need to have an orgasm. I'll sort you out.
Kyle's about to get 30 people DMing him asking.
That's fine. Hit me up. I'm willing to pay it.
All right, so let's just transition before we end here because these finals are going to be over before the next time we meet here.
Yeah.
If Milwaukee wins this thing in Game 6, is Giannis your MVP or is it Chris Middleton?
I think it's Drew Holiday, honestly.
Ooh.
I really do. Look at those games. Look at those games. Look at the games that Milwaukee won. Look at last night. Go ahead. Praise Giannis all you want. 27 and 14. Yeah, and 27 and 14. Come on now. Get that fuck out of here. I know they want to give it to Chris Middleton. I mean, Giannis will get it. Obviously, they'll just do it because of his name. Drew Holiday, especially those first couple of games, or that first game when Giannis was still getting back, even though they lost those games, Drew Holiday has been the most important piece. He's the guy that has been left open. Chris Paul's a terrible defender. I think Jrue Holiday has been the real MVP for that team in this finals.
Wow. I guess I would side with Middleton a little bit just because he's the offense that team needs late in games that Giannis just can't provide. Like Giannis has put up some numbers in the series, and you can't take that away.
Yeah.
But Giannis does the bulk of his scoring earlier in the games. When this thing is on the line in the fourth quarter, they're looking at Chris Middleton.
Oh, of course. Anytime it's half court, offense, it's Chris Middleton. But Jrue Holiday has stepped up. He's taken those open threes. He's distributed the ball beautifully. He's played great defense. I know it's not the popular pick, but for me, when I watch the Bucks win, the player who's played well, I could pull up the game logs on the 3 wins. Should we do that just real quick? Just Jrue Holiday is being underrated here. So let's go scores here. We'll go to last night's game. I'm probably going to do this slower than it should be done, but, is what it is. Box score last night. And they're going to play some ESPN stuff in the background. I'll try to silence that down. Jrue Holiday, 27 points, 13 assists, 4 rebounds, a block, 3 steals. Amazing.
Yep.
Let's go. Let's go back to their game 4 win. Jrue Holiday. Let me pull it up here. Only 13 points, 7 assists, 3 steals. He was 4 of 20 shooting. Still, I mean, that was the Chris Middleton game. Obviously, he had 40 points.
Yeah.
And then let's go to
Game
Milwaukee's 3. Last one was game 3. Let me pull that up. We're doing this in real time. Giannis had 41 in that game, so it's tough to go against that. But Jrue Holiday, again, another 40-minute performance, 21 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds, a block, a steal, a plus 22 in the plus-minus. Jrue Holiday has been the main factor. Chris Paul has struggled in those games that the Bucks have won. I like what Jrue Holiday's done. For me personally, I think he's been more. I think if Giannis didn't play this series, it might have played out the same way. Honest to God.
Do we both agree though that Giannis will get it if they win in Game 6?
Yeah, of course he will. Of course he will.
All right, so there you go. All right, guys, that's going to be it for the backdoor cover this week. Fascinating episode. Easily,
I thought it was great.
Easily our most watched episode.
Yeah, I love it.
We'll be back next Sunday, 11 p.m. Eastern time, with another episode of the Backdoor Cover. As always, Kyle, a pleasure, my friend.
I love you, brother. You know that.
All right, guys, we'll be back next week.